Hello guys, what is going on? I'm Nozda and welcome back to another weekly book review. Today it's going to be slightly different. It's going to be a book that I've recently reread, which is the first one I've done, like rereading wise. Sure, you can tell this is scripted clearly. So yeah, what I'm going to be reading, well what I'm going to be reviewing, I'm not going to read it in front of you. I was thinking about doing like a reading timeless type thing. I didn't see many ones actually done good, like it's all, terrible editing and stuff like that. Anyway, the one I'm going to be reviewing today after a reread is Neil Gaiman's Coraline. Coraline, just for a bit of a history, Coraline is my favourite movie of all time. I watched it when I was about 8, I think, in cinemas. I'm just making up, I know I was small because I remember tripping over the stairs on my way back up from the bathroom when I turned around with my 3D glasses on and saw the father with his piano hands. We'll deal with father. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, it is my favourite movie of all time. So last year, near the end of last year, so it isn't actually that long since I read it. I wanted to reread it again because it's very short. It's like, how many pages is it? It's about like 280 something pages. So last year, I'm like, okay, my favourite movie of all time is Coraline. I'm going to get a tattoo of like the button with like a needle going through it. Like eventually, I'm going to get a different tattoo first. I might do a video on that once I actually start getting them. Anyway, so yeah, I keep on saying anyway so much because the amount of tangents were going on. Coraline, picked it up last year, read it. Wasn't as good as a movie for me personally, but that's because I had such like a history with the movie. I watched it like maybe 100 times. Before even a year after it came out on like Sky Movies or whatever. Like I was that addicted to watching this movie over and over again as a kid. So maybe that's one of the things. It's not really to do with the story. Maybe it's to do with like the mindset and the age. Like because now watching the movie, I definitely won't get as much out of it as I did when I was a kid. Like just enjoying it. I mean, I might get more out of it in terms of like the theories and stuff like that. Because talking about the book and actually the source material, one of the great things about books where it's from the kid's perspective is that it's just rife with just theory possibility, theory potential, because of how much the descriptions are ambiguous, how much they're not reliable. It's an unreliable narrator when you're at such a young age. So that's what's one of the amazing things about the story. What I found weird is that in the movie, I mean, movies do this all the time, but they added the Wybie character. I was excited to read about the Wybie character, and, well, Wyborn. Why were you on? Oh, that's great. Anyway, my God, I hate myself. So yeah, I was excited to read about the Wyborn character. It just wasn't there at all. It just wasn't in this book. It just completely missed it out. What I will say though is that the descriptions, even though it's from like an unreliable narrator, like I said, is incredibly good. The world is very like imaginative and it's beautifully written. It really puts you into. Yeah, the thing is it's one of the things that, like, one of the very few books that did this for me. It was, like, a couple of the Harry Potter books later on. But it changed my mind's eye version of what I was seeing. Like, for the first part of this book, I was like, oh, okay, it's the Tim Burton thing. I'm just imagining the Tim Burton movie, but with different dialogue and different, like, characters, Well, like, no Wyborn, pretty much. So yeah, that's what I was imagining in my head. But then slowly over time, the world specifically, not really how the characters look, but the world just changed because it is different, but also the descriptions are so beautifully done in this book. It's actually really good. I can't really talk too much about the story, honestly, just because of the way I read this. Like, I read this before I watched the movie. So I can't really speak on how well written the book is. Because it's weird because the book is so short. Like I said, it's 180 something pages. So when it came to the movie, the liabilities that they made was creating more content, like the character of Wyborn, and just that sort of stuff to make a 2-hour feature-length movie. I'm pretty sure it was a bit less. It was also stop motion, which is really cool if you're into that. I'm really trying to sell the movie more than the book. It's kind of strange. But yeah, so because it's so short, it feels like there's bits missing, which might be because of, like I said, the way I read it. Like, I read it after I watched the movie. And there was more stuff in the movie, and for a while I thought that was the real story. I didn't even know it was based on a book for a long time. Didn't even really think about it, I guess. But yeah, so it feels like there could be more. But then again, it is both. It is dark. It's incredible. The book is incredibly dark compared to the movie. Even though the movie is like, it's got that Tim Burton-esque like sort of horror kiddie style thing. But yeah, it is in essence a kid's book. It's like a Goosebumps book in the style of how short it is, but like the style horror wise and how dark it can get. So it feels like even though they built the world really well, Neil Gaiman built the world really well. There's maybe like there could be some one or two very cool set pieces, maybe set in the real world and stuff like that. That would have been cool. It just felt a bit short, shorter, but it is for a target audience of children. I do understand that. So going back to Coraline, by the way, I love this story so much. Like, if I ever have like a child that's like a girl, I would call her Coraline if that was okay with the other person. That. So that's just like an extra added bit there, but like I was saying with Coraline and the fact that she's like an unreliable narrator, it's also because of this. Like one of the theories is that like whatever happened didn't happen, because the parents, after the fiery phase where the passion was in the relationship, now it's in their work, the work that's incredibly boring, but it's it's like the thing that they're focused on completely, because they're going through a move, and that can be very stressful as well, but they got to get this work done at the same time, and all this is from the child's perspective, so that could be one of the reasons why the world is described so dreary, because it represents her emotions, and it feels like the real world is more of a metaphor than the fantasy world, because if you don't know, in Coraline, there's two separate worlds. There's she goes through like this little hatch in the door, and then she goes out into this alternate world where it's all a fantasy, but like shock horror, there's a twist and stuff like that. But it feels like, even because it's from like an unreliable narrator's perspective, it feels like the real world is more of a metaphor than the fate world, and that it helps make the world that isn't described as amazing more interesting, and just when you think about that perspective alone. And like that's just another great thing. Just the theory crafting in this book is amazing. That's one of the reasons why you should pick it up, because once you've read this book, you can instantly jump into the community, which tear this book apart left, right, and centre, looking for the nits and crannies of every single theory that can be possibly imagined that may or may not be left by Neil Gaiman. Overall, I would definitely recommend this book. Also recommend the movie, because like I said, it's my favourite movie of all time. And yeah, if you like me rereading books, then please let me know. I know it could be a bit annoying, because I have been changing the books in the description a lot recently, because I've been like, oh, I won't have time to read this book. Like, for the past 2 weeks now, I've been getting ready to read The Halo Effect, which is a book that came out recently, but like not many people are reviewing it, so I probably won't. A lot of people probably aren't looking for reviews either, because there's no basically the way it works is that people get books sent to them, and if the Halo Effect people aren't sending books out to reviewers, the book's not going to get reviewed, and it just feels like no one's going to be looking for it then. That's just sort of an excuse. But yeah, I've reread. I'm probably going to be doing some rereads of other books as well, but I'm going to try and not do them all in a row, because that feels like I'm copying out of this sort of thing. But yeah, also, if you're at the end of this video, thank you, but there is a video that I did recently, my latest video. It is about how to do a series of books correctly. Like, I talk about The Major, and I talk about Harry Potter, talk about Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, that series as well. It doesn't have very many views right now, so it would be cool if you could check it out and let me know what you think. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.